how it works. But what I can say is this. It's a multiple choice test. Okay, so because it's a multiple choice test, marami na rin siyang, basically anything that applies to any other multiple choice test, yung pag-eliminate ng answers, looking for the best answer, these principles all apply in answering a verbal analogy type of test. Okay, so keep that in mind. That said, let me first draw your attention to the screen dito sa red ink na to. Okay, once in a while, I will break the lecture and we will discuss some words that are from the Greek origin, and we will discuss them in terms of their prefix and root word. Okay, kasi sobrang important na skill na to, and the lecture itself doesn't really give too much attention to that, but I will. Okay, so let's take the word analyze. Okay, so i-break up natin yan sa kanyang prefix, which is ana, and yung root word, which is lysis. Okay? The prefix ana in anabolic, for example, or the name Anastasia, which actually means resurrection, means it means up, or may connotation siya na again, especially sa context 'di ba ng resurrection. 'Di ba kasi tumayo uli siya. Anastasis, to stand up again, in yung meaning niya. In this case, ana means up and lysis means to break down, 'di ba? So itong lysis and breakdown, paano natin ipapagsama yan, 'di ba? Kasi how does that work? Ano yan? Ibig sabihin yan, sir? Ibig sabihin ng analysis, break up? Diba? Ayoko namang gawin yan, sir. And that's not what it means, diba? What this means is you take something apart and you put it back together. Okay, you take something apart, you understand the elements, and then you put it back together. Kaya kapag pinapagawa tayo, for example, ng isang literary analysis, then what we're doing there is we're taking apart a story by taking its elements, its character, setting, plot, etc., and studying those individually. And then we can put them back together, and then meron tayong makikitang mas malalim na pagkakaintindi sa teksto. Okay? So we take something apart and we put it back together, and thus deepening our knowledge afterwards. And we can do this with anything. Like you can do it with words, you can do it with history, you can do it with literature, you can do it with computer code, with machines, you can do it even with human relationships. Diba? Bakit kami nagkakaganito? Bakit ang toxic namin? Let us take our elements apart at tingnan natin kung bakit kami nag-aaway ng aking jowa. Diba? So that works. Yan ang analysis. Okay? And that's exactly what we did with this word. Diba? Kung tutuusin, diba? We took it apart. We took apart the parts of the word and studied them individually, and then we put them back together. And now our knowledge deepens. Diba? Ang galing, diba? Ang cool. So that is what we are going to be doing. I will stop and practice this with you for once in a while, because this is an important skill that is going to help you in tests like verbal analogy. That said, back to the test. Okay, so verbal analogy means, so once in a while, meron tayong mga items that are built using the paired word approach. Okay, so again, as an educator who has been doing this for so long, I can tell you once in a while also about the perspective of a teacher and how these items are made sometimes. Okay, so I'll also give you that perspective. So paired word approach, you have one pair given, legislator is to laws, and then you have another pair that is blank. Okay, so your answer, the answer must be a pair that fulfills the same relationship. Okay, so again, it's about relationships. Okay, sir, paano yan? Bokeh ako sa relationships. Okay lang, ako rin. Okay, next, single word approach. Okay, in the case of the single word approach, you have three words that are given. Okay, so you have one pair given and then you have half of another pair given. Okay, so yung missing mo lang ay isang salita. And from here, you are going to choose the word that completes the relationship in the same way. Again, the important thing there is that the relationship has to be completed in the same way. Okay? Let's take a look at these ones. Legislator is to laws. Can anybody type? Okay, as many of you who'd like to answer, ano yung relationship ng legislator and laws? Anyone? Okay, so someone typed. It's their job. It is what they make. Legislator makes laws. Okay, thank you to those who answered. Okay. I really like the answer na nagsabi, legislator makes laws. Bakit? Kasi kumpletong sentence yung binigay niya. Okay? May mga iba, it's what they make, it's their job. Okay, these are all complete sentences as well. But when you say a legislator makes laws, you're still using the words. Okay? You're using the words here. Legislator makes laws. Okay? So, who has the same relationship? Eddie, pharmacologist makes drugs. Okay? As for the single word approach, you have one word that is missing. A warden and a prisoner. What is the relationship? Please type in the chat. Okay, guards the prisoner. Warden guards the prisoner. Okay, so it's good that you're catching on quickly. Now you're forming a complete sentence. Okay, just give me a moment. Dumating ang aking Grab Merienda. Hello, sir. Pa-doorbell na lang po. Okay. Um, Sorry, where was that? Okay, so the warden guards the prisoner. Okay, pero does the kidnapper guard anybody? Okay, nangga-guard ba yung kidnapper? Kinidnap nga niya eh, 'di ba? So, I would use another word, pero sige, 'di ba? What fulfills the same relationship? Kasi if you say the kidnapper guards the hostage, it still doesn't fulfill the relationship. Eh. Diba? Parang medyo hindi. Parang hindi mo pwede. Okay, the kidnapper holds the hostage captive. Okay, so the warden holds the prisoner captive in the same way that the kidnapper holds the prisoner captive. Okay, that is that is what I would use personally. Okay, so at least we still got the same answer. We still got the correct answer. I think all of you naman, like if you actually study this item, I think you'd still be able to answer it correctly. Okay, let's continue. Okay. The first and most important thing that you need to keep in mind when you are answering a verbal analogy is this. At the end of the day, you need to know what the word means. Okay? You cannot really answer this test if you don't have a functional vocabulary. And that's actually one of the most important things that the vocabulary, that the type of test, that the test type asks you. Okay, pwedeng bumalik sa previous slide. Okay, yan. Ang tagal ko sa slide na to Okay, so please just screenshot na lang right away. I do recommend that you just screenshot right away rather than hintayin ninyo kasi hindi ako magbibigay ng signal. Okay? Please make sure that you do that. I think it's better if we do that kasi nga nauubusan tayo ng oras. Okay, we have a very short time and the lecture is very long. So I will go back if I have to, but I would prefer not to. Okay? So if you please just take the initiative to take screenshots. I hope you understand. Okay? Ayan, okay na? Balik na ako. Okay. So where was I? The first word. Okay, so you need to know the meaning of the word. At the end of the day, kailangan alam niyo yung meaning ng words. At the end of the day, this test tries to test your vocabulary and verbal reasoning. And a big part of that is knowing words, right? Knowing what words to actually use. And if you take a look at this, the, di ba, parang, ano rin yan eh, parang real life relationship siya yan. Hindi ka pwede magkaroon ng maayos na relationship kung hindi mo kilala sarili mo, di ba? If the other person doesn't know themselves, if they have no identity, you can't have a real relationship. So in the same way, ito rin, hindi pwede. Kapag hindi mo alam kung ano yung meaning ng word, hindi mo makikita kung ano yung relationship. So please keep that in mind. Okay? Um, that said, some of you might be thinking now, Sir, paano yan boke ako sa vocabulary? I don't read a lot. Okay? There are a couple of things that I can recommend. The first thing that I can recommend is that you read the news. Okay? So, Sir, bakit news? News has a very unang-una maiksi. Okay, because like you have a limited amount of time. I think you're gonna be taking the NMAT around May, correct? And if you are going to be doing that, you're not gonna have time to like read through the entire Lord of the Rings or something, and I'm not gonna recommend that. Okay. And besides, like it might be too much of a hassle for many people to read, especially like if they're not avid readers already. So read the news. Bakit? Kasi short yung mga article. There is a consistent structure to news that is required of them. They have to write it in a certain format, in a certain way. And as such, you can train yourself to look for information in certain places. So pwede rin siya. It's also helpful for the reading comprehension part of the test. Okay. The other thing is that once in a while they use good vocabulary words. Okay. Sir, what if I don't really read at all and the only thing that I am comfortable reading is comics? That's fine. Meron akong recommend for that. Okay? Try looking up Calvin and Hobbes. Okay, Calvin and Hobbes is a comic strip. You might see it once in a while in the newspaper. Matagal na nag-quit yung author eh. Like he quit writing it in the 90s. Okay, but his work is still syndicated, so pinapublish pa rin siya once in a while. And it has a really cute art style na nagiging realistic rin once in a while. So sobrang astig niya. But one thing, I grew up reading that and sobrang ganda nung vocabulary niya. Ang taas ng level. Okay, so you're gonna learn a lot of new words reading this. Kahit na kalokohan siya ng bata. Yun yung topic niya, mga kalokohan ng bata. The wild imagination of a young child. Okay, mostly it's about that. But ang taas ng level ng vocabulary niya. So I learned a lot from it. Okay, so I highly recommend that if you are struggling with vocabulary. Sir, should I read the thesaurus? There was a student who asked me before, should I read the thesaurus? No, that's a waste of time. Okay, because babagsak ka sa memory. And memory, I'm telling you as a teacher who has been doing this for almost 20 years, memorization is the worst possible way to learn. You are not forming connections. You are just forming individual cells in your brain. Okay, you are just forming individual thoughts in your brain na walang connect sa kahit ano. And because of that, it's inefficient. Okay, it's an inefficient way to learn. Learn by making connections. Okay? Kunyari, ganito yung Calvin and Hobbes, meron siyang word na na-mention. So now it has a connection with the comic strip and with the visuals that you see. So when you see the word in the test, maaalala mo. Okay, I have another connection to that. Ano nga bala yung context in which he used the word? Okay, discombobulate. Okay, I know it. It means to confuse. Okay? So yan, maaano mo yan, may connections. Okay, so that is a more efficient way to learn new vocabulary rather than memorization. Okay? I hope that makes sense. Now, after you find out the words, after you find out their meaning, then it is very easy for you to find the relationship. And from there, then you can pick the answer that fulfills the relationship, that completes the relationship. Any questions? No more questions? Okay, let's continue. Okay, so you guys already did it. it helps so much to form a sentence, because when you form a sentence, you are able to form a complete thought. Okay? And the completeness of a thought matters a lot. Okay? Kasi may student na nagsabi sa akin dati, nung tinanong ko, what is the relationship between legislator and laws? May nagsabi lang politics. Sabi ko, relationship ba yan? Ano ngayon kung politics? Ano nga? Ano yung relationship? Because a relationship is not just one word, 'di ba? A relationship is always this blanks this. This and this have a connection. 'Di ba? Pero if you just say politics, it's not a connection. That's a word. Okay? It's not even a complete thought. So, yun, forming a sentence really helps. Also, the order kasi matters. You'll see that later. Okay, so forming a sentence in your head helps. We'll practice that a lot later as we go through the practice items through the quizzes. Okay, once in a while, you are going to have items like this. Okay? Again, mag-screenshot kayo ha. Please do screenshots actively. I'm not just gonna tell you to do it anymore. Kasi may lag pa yun eh. Okay? Once nag-switch ako ng slide, pag nakita ninyo buong yung slide, please take a screenshot already. Okay? Taking a look at this, sometimes you have to refine your sentence because it might not always fulfill the relationship properly. So for example, the earth and the sun, what is the relationship? Can you answer? Okay, the earth revolves around the sun, diba? Very grade school. So you can easily eliminate cuff and sleeve kasi hindi naman umiikot yon, and then you can eliminate placenta and fetus because the placenta revolving around the fetus is not a function of pregnancy. It is a birth complication and it's not something you want to happen. Okay? So you are left with electron nucleus, electron is the nucleus, and satellite is the planet. Alin ang tamang sagot? And why? Sorry, kailangan ko magkape. Anybody? What is the correct answer and why? B, they have many orbitals. C, because the satellite revolves around the planet to capture images. But does the Earth revolve around the sun to capture images? Satellite revolves around the planet. Satellite revolves outside the Earth. The electron isn't inside the nucleus either. Okay. B, because they have many orbitals, but so does a satellite around the planet. Jupiter has like what, 70, over 100 moons or something? So, madami din. Mas marami pa nga. May ring system ang Saturn. Those are also orbitals. Okay? An atom in the electron orbits the nucleus, but the satellite doesn't orbit around the planet. Okay. Wag tayo malito, guys. Yes, merong orbits ang electrons, but that is only because that is how we compute it and visualize it. But in reality, I think you should know by now that according to Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, you cannot actually predict where an electron is. Okay? Yes, it's orbiting, but you cannot actually predict. But the Earth's revolutions around the sun are so predictable that we actually can use it as our sense of time. Okay? Diba? Kaya tayo may years. We have years and seasons because of that. And we should be thankful that we only have one star. Okay? I started watching the Three Body Problem sa Netflix. And so, like, imagine kung tatlo yung stars natin, di ba? Then, patay tayo. And that's what was happening to them. Okay? So we only have one sun, and as a result, it has a very predictable orbit. Okay? In the same way, a satellite, whether natural or artificial, because the moon is a satellite too. Okay, keep that in mind. Satellite does not have to be man-made. A satellite is anything that's orbiting a planet. It can be a moon, it can be an artificial satellite, or it can be a piece of junk. Okay, so A satellite orbits a planet. It's anything that's in the orbit around it. So, taking a look at this, the satellite and the Earth orbit in a predictable manner. So, the correct answer is C. Okay? Huwag tayo malito masyado. And I think we need to, huwag tayo maging masyadong technical. Okay? Kasi sometimes medyo, although this item is particularly technical, I think you just need to take a look at the similarity. The similarity is the Earth has a predictable orbit around the sun, and so does a satellite around the planet. The electron, not really, no. Okay? So I hope that made sense. I hope that made sense. Thankfully, not very many items are like this. Okay? Okay. Once in a while, there are sort of trick questions. And what are these going to be like? Okay, so if you look at our item on the legislator and laws, merong isang sagot doon na pictures is the photographer. Now, it has the same relationship pero nakabaliktad. Okay? And that is why saying it as a sentence helps a lot because you cannot say the pictures make photographer. Okay? You have to say the photographer makes pictures. And as a result, if it is swapped or flipped around, then it is automatically wrong. Okay? So keep that in mind. So kapag nakabaliktad, it's wrong, eliminate it. Next, if the given words are synonymous, edi kapag merong choices na antonymous, then you eliminate those already. Okay? Eliminate anything that has an antonymous relationship. Okay, so this one is pretty straightforward. For example, candid and the frank, yung candid and frank ang given mo, they are synonymous. Then if ball and chuckle are in your choices, you can eliminate that. Okay? So again, the importance here is knowing when to eliminate. This will help a lot in narrowing down your answers. Okay? Okay pa ba tayo? Any questions at this point? Wala. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, continuing now. Okay, it also helps to eliminate answer choices that are not grammatically parallel. What does grammatical parallelism mean? Okay, so if you look at di ba, sobrang big word ng grammatical parallelism, but what it just really means is a very basic grade school concept. Parts of speech. Pareho ba yung parts of speech nila? Okay, so for example, are they parts of speech in the context of this test are only nouns, verbs, and adjectives? What are nouns? Can anybody tell me what nouns are? Oh, wala. Nouns? Can't remember. Okay, nouns, guys, are the names of things, persons, place, or thing. Yes. Okay. The most generic way to describe them, the most general way to describe them is that they are the names of things. Okay, so these things can be physical things such as computer, cell phone, bicycle. They can be abstract ideas such as freedom or justice or love. They can be proper names, names of people, Sir Joey. They can be common nouns, diba? Like just general things like teacher, instructor, crush, jowa. Okay, these are nouns. Okay, and so if you think about it, maraming words na ganon. Okay, so nouns and then verbs. What are verbs? Okay, action words, diba? And then finally, adjectives. What are adjectives? Okay. They are describing words in particular. They describe nouns. Okay. So you have to be careful in that they describe nouns or pronouns, as the case may be. But in this case, they are describing words that are meant to describe nouns. Okay, so yung tatlong yan lang yung makikita ninyo dito sa verbal analogy. I have not seen adverbs in it. Okay? So, keep that in mind. When there is an item that has given that is ito, for example, diligent is an adjective, industrious is an adjective, then your answer must also be adjective adjective. You must eliminate any answer that isn't adjective adjective. So for example, helpful, which is an adjective, and assistance, which is a noun, then mali yan automatically. Eliminate this. Okay? So you can actually answer in this way, even if the relationship is not 100% clear to you. Okay, so keep that in mind. And then also, you can find, ito, for example, kung yung given mo is noun and verb, for example, uh, teacher teaches. Okay? Teacher teaches. And then dapat yung sagot mo rin should also be noun verb. Okay? Surfer surfs or something. Okay? Pwedeng, kailangan ganun siya. So you have to eliminate anything that doesn't have the same relationship. This also applies to grammar in the case of singularity and plurality. So once in a while, you will see choices that are may iba sa kanila na singular, may iba na plural. Ano yung nagmamatch dun sa given? So you need to answer. So kung singular yung given, then dapat singular rin yung answer. Okay? Any questions about grammatical parallelism? Wala. Okay, let's continue. Okay, familiarize yourself with the common types of analogies. Okay, you can take a screenshot of that. There are 21. A to letter T ata to. Okay, so most of them are very simple. Bibilisan ko na lang yung pag-discuss dito sa mga to. Okay, so synonyms, very obvious. Synonyms will be the same parts of speech. Okay, so for example, sleep and snooze, pareho silang verbs. And then choose is also a verb. And you will want to choose a word that has that is also a verb. So for example, pick or select. Okay, so these are synonyms, same parts of speech sila. Okay, ito naman, synonym variants is a bit trickier because the words might be related and close in terms of meaning, pero isa sa kanila verb, isa adjective, or isa sa kanila noun, isa sa kanila verb. Okay, so for example, acceptable and consent are similar in meaning, they are close in meaning, but acceptable is an adjective while consent is a noun or verb as the usage demands. Okay? And so kung adjective noun siya, then dapat yung sagot mo ay adjective noun rin. So vindictive is an adjective and its noun equivalent might be either revenge or vengeance. Either one would be correct, but both preserve the same relationship. Okay? Antonyms naman, I know most of us think that antonyms are straightforward, and they are, except that once in a while, merong mga students na nagtatanong sa akin, Sir, hindi ba antonym ng pointed ang rounded? Think about that for a minute. Antonym ba ng pointed ang rounded? Is a triangle an anti-circle? Hindi, di ba? It's not. They might be different, but that doesn't mean they're opposite. Okay? Not in the same way. Ito, for example, something cannot be both compulsory and voluntary at the same time. Diba? It's just logically impossible. Or when you salvage something, diba? To salvage something is to recover it from the trash. Okay? So what would the antonym of that be? Then it should be something like dispose, discard, or abandon, which are all throwing something away. Diba? And as such, yun yung mga tamang antonym ng salvage. May nagtanong sa akin, Sir, hindi ba pwede destroy? It's close in meaning, oh yeah, what about damage? What about destroy? Is it the opposite action of throwing something into the trash? It is the opposite action. The damage is the opposite of repair, to remove damage. In the same way that destroy is the opposite action to create, not throw away. Diba? So, yan yung mga totoong opposite nila. And you need to keep that in mind. Okay? And this is why having a deeper, more functional, robust vocabulary is very helpful. Kasi makikita mo yung mga nuances between these words na hindi sila pare-pareho. They're actually different. To dispose of something is different from to destroy something. 'Di ba? Because to dispose means tinapon mo lang. Pero hindi mo pwede sabihin, okay, ganito, think about this way. Um, Please dispose of the leftovers in the fridge. 'Di ba? Itatapon mo. Iba yun sa destroy the leftovers in the fridge. When you take a look at it that way, it's not the same. Okay? So you need to deepen your vocabulary. That's why. Okay? In the same way, in damage, hindi rin siya pareho. Okay? So keep that in mind. The antonym variants, same principle as synonym variants. Okay? Thaw, frozen. You thaw something that is frozen. You weaken something that is strong. Okay? So it is a bit more straightforward to say it that way. Okay? Any questions about the first four? Going once, going twice. Okay, moving on. Okay, so the definition, as far as I can tell, this is pretty much exactly like synonyms. Okay, kasi wala akong makitang difference. To lampoon something means to ridicule something. To cajole someone means to persuade them. Yes, it is true that cajoling someone has a different context from persuasion. Okay, like I said, may nuances yan eh. Hindi siya katulad ng persuasion na nag-debate kayo and in light of these facts, this is the most reasonable response. 'Di ba? Hindi siya ganon. Ang cajole is may flirting siya nakasama. Okay, may bola. So it's like, sige na ate, bigyan mo ko ng discount, cute ka naman eh. Parang ganon. Okay, yan yung cajole. But because you are only dealing with one word, then wala ka talagang space to actually have that explanation or that definition. So as far as I can tell, pareho siya ng synonym. Okay. Next, defining characteristic. What is a virtuoso? Can anybody tell me what a virtuoso is? Ano ang virtuoso? Don't look it up. Don't look it up. I want you. Okay, a master of music. Okay, so 'di ba sa context na ganyan, makikita natin master siya typically in music and it's almost always only in classical music. Hindi ko siya nakikita ginagamit na oh, he's like a heavy metal virtuoso or Taylor Swift is a pop virtuoso. Hindi ko nakikita yung usage na yon. Okay, it's almost always classical music. Violin virtuoso, a cellist virtuoso, piano virtuoso. Yun yung nakikita ko. Okay? So, by definition, and this is how I verbalize the defining characteristic, by definition, a virtuoso is exceptional. Okay? By definition, a spendthrift, ang taong magastos, isang gastador, ay, okay, so you could say they are extravagant by definition, pwedeng wasteful, okay, or a more general and probably more basic one is impulsive. Okay, I think yan talaga yung defining characteristic ng spendthrift is the impulsive buying. Okay, madali, mapudol. Okay, so that is impulsive buying. Okay, so by definition yan. Ito yung noun and then by definition, they are like this. Okay, this appears a lot in the quizzes later. Next, member and class. Okay, so madali lang to. And usually sa context ng animal taxonomy yung nakikita ko dito. So review your bio a bit. Okay. I know this is supposed to be a vocabulary test, grammar and verbal test, but it's a bit hard to answer if like it assumes that you have some level of bio. Okay, so for example, ang arthropod ba member ba ang insect doon or yung arthropod ba yung member sa insect, 'di ba? Mga ganon. So keep that in mind. Member and class. Um, Minsan din, groups, names of groups. So names of groups of animals comes up. Okay, so ano yung individual animal, ano yung pangalan ng group. Okay, so a dog, for example, you have a pack of dogs or a pack of wolves. And then for a um, for crows, diba? A murder of crows, may mga ganon. Next, yung part of a whole or and then the whole and a part of it. What do you call a part of it? So shoulder is to clavicle and then book is to page. Any questions about this? None? Okay. Okay, next. Degree of intensity. Ito fun to. Okay, I like seeing items like this because it's interesting to see ano yung mga words that are milder and ano yung mga mas severe. Okay, so for example, when yung tipsy and plaster, these are degrees of what? Drunkenness, pagkalasing, 'di ba? Kapag nakainom ka lang ng konti, kunyari nakaisa kang hindi naman siguro isang San Mig Light lang, 'di ba? Ang konti-konti ng alcohol nun. Siguro mga nakatatlo. Okay, medyo tipsy ka na or siguro isang isang lemon sour. Okay, kasi 9% alcohol 'yun. Medyo nakakahilo 'yun. Okay, so isa lang. Okay, isa lang tipsy ka na. And then plastered, ito yung nagsusuka ka na yung wasak. Okay? And that would be the higher degree. Now, if you look at the so ano yung annoyed? 'Di ba? Annoyed and vexed. I use the word vexed because I think like it's a very high level, also very high vocabulary level word. But annoyed is, for example, nakapila ka lang sa fast food tapos nasingitan ka pero nag-sorry naman yung tao, ay sorry, and then umalis siya. 'Di ba? So hindi naman sira yung araw mo. O kaya yung 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 nagko-commute ka tapos may magbabayad ka sana tapos may nahulog na piso or something na I mean it's not that bad, 'di ba? So annoyed lang 'yon. Hindi sira yung araw mo, yung okay na, yung nakakainis pero okay na. Okay? But vexed, ito yung sira yung araw mo. Okay? So ano bang example ko dito? And like yung nangyari the yung crush ko, the girl I like, meron siyang kaklase sa masters. May chismis no? May kaklase sa masters tapos nag-ano siya, she liked the guy and she thought the guy liked her. And so she asked him out. Tapos nag-ano, when and then so the guy accepted. They went out on a date. Nag nagbihis pa at nagpabango yung guy and everything only to tell her that she's taken. Na parang, dude, hindi mo naman kailangan, pwede mo naman sabihin na wag na tayong lumabas, taken ako, 'di ba? So parang, 'di ba, I don't know, pwede ko murahin 'yun pero nire-record to kaya ayoko ma-record yung mura eh. Pero ang sama, 'di ba? Yung what a jerk. 'Di ba? So yun nakakainis 'yun. So tuloy heartbroken yung crush ko, 'di ba? Nakakainis. So vexed 'yun. Sira yung araw mo, sira yung araw niya. She was like she was so angry. Okay, asar na asar siya. So yung sira yung araw niya, yan yung vexed, okay? And yeah, very high level vocabulary. If you ginamit niyo yun sa Scrabble, panalo kayo. Okay, next. Um, Working and the worker and the action that they do. So similar to dun sa kanina, except that actually mas ito yon yung worker and article created. So yung worker, tapos ano yung trabaho niya? Okay, so stockbroker trades and then a bouncer would guard. Okay, a bouncer guards. Take note of the tense of the verb. So, noun verb siya. Okay, ito naman, noun noun. So, yung worker, tapos ano yung ginagawa niya. Okay, so cartographer would create a map, a publisher would create a book. Okay? Okay pa so far? Finally, not finally, but like next, the worker and the tool used. So, yung worker, tapos ano yung tool na ginagamit niya sa trabaho. So, an accountant would be using a spreadsheet. And a Foley artist, does anybody know what a Foley artist is? Anybody know? Ayon, sound effects. Okay, gumagawa ng sound effects. So a Foley artists create sound effects for movies, for film, for TV series, for video games even. And so a Foley artist would always use a mic kasi nagre-record sila ng sounds. Okay? Okay, next. Okay, patapos na tayo dito ah. So I'm moving a bit fast, but tatapusin ko lang tong discussion na to kasi mahaba yung reading comprehension part. Okay, next, the worker and the workplace. So saan siya nagtatrabaho? A radiologist would be working in a lab, for example, while a disc jockey, nowadays, di ba kapag tanungin ko kayo, saan nagtatrabaho ang DJ, sasabihin niyo sa club or bar or sa dance floor or sa parties kasi yan yung tawag natin sa kanila ngayon, di ba? They produce live music for the dance floor. And that is what we call a disc jockey now. Pero dati, originally, radio station, yes. Yan yung tawag sa radio host dati kasi nga yung bala ng music na ginagamit nila is plaka, di ba? Disc, um, vinyl record, and then after that, it became CDs. But that term has now come to apply to a live performer. So yan, radio station. Diba? So pwede. Okay? Next, the tool and the object it acts upon. So the gavel, yan yung hammer na ginagamit ng judge as part of the ceremonial proceedings in a court. And pinupukpok niya yung wood. Diba? May wooden siya na block. Yun yung pinupukpok niya. Okay? Now, the rake and the leaves, medyo weird tong item na to kasi nga plural yung leaves eh. And so may nagtanong dati na student, Sir, paano yan? Di ba dapat leaf? And then, I mean, you're not wrong, 'di ba? Tama dapat grammatically parallel siya, pero kung isipin mo rin logically, kapag isa lang 'yung dahon mo, hindi ka nagagamit ng rake, 'di ba? Pupulutin mo na lang. So parang o nga no. So ang weird ng item na to. It needs to be edited. But logically speaking, if you had to choose between a singular and plural, I wouldn't know the answer. But you could still usually hindi naman. Okay, you'll just see leaves there. So yun na lang yung sagot mo. Okay, it would still be the best answer in this case. Next, action and its significance, pwede. Okay, so salute would signify respect, pareho silang noun. And then a shrug might signify uncertainty, indifference, or apathy. Wala siyang pakialam. Okay? And then cause and effect, marami to. I usually see this very often, cause and effect. So one object or one phenomenon causes the other. And in this case, stress would cause anxiety. If stress causes anxiety, then a soporific would cause sleep. Okay? I know this term, soporific, is not very common. I think mas alam natin yung Latin equivalent nito kasi Greek to. Okay, sopo meaning sleep or stupor, and then phoric meaning carrying or causing. Diba meron mga pyrophoric meaning causing fire. Sleepiness, no, sleep. Sleepiness is the feeling of being sleepy, but sleep is tulog ka. Okay? It doesn't just make you sleepy, it puts you to sleep. So iba yon. So sleepiness is when I haven't slept in a while and so I'm sleepy. Pero kapag nag-soporific ka, tulog ka talaga. Like it will put you down. Para siyang anesthetic. A soporific, ang Latin equivalent niyan ay naririnig natin ang Latin equivalent niyan very often. Greek yan eh. Greek yung soporific. The Latin equivalent is narcotic. Okay? The term narcotic kasi palaging ginagamit ng police, 'di ba naririnig natin sa news because it is what they call most drugs, 'di ba? Yan yung legal term for drugs na ginagamit ng police is narcotics. Even though a lot of those actually don't cause sleep. A lot of the drugs that people take na illegal drugs that people take are actually uppers, 'di ba? Hindi nga kaya nga sila nagte-take para hindi makatulog. 'Di ba? So they're stimulants. So but they're called narcotics in general by the police because sir bakit Latin yung term na gamit ng police? Kasi saan ba nanggaling ang ating mga legal. Okay, just give me a moment. Let me finish. Okay, saan ba nagagaling yung mga legal terms natin? We inherited a lot of our legal systems from the Romans. Kaya Latin ang mga terms ng law. Okay? Yes. Okay? And sequence, di na kailangan explain yan, di ba? What comes first? What comes next? Itong previous slide, please take a screenshot. Okay na? Ang layo na ng EFGH, ha? Guys, ha, I wanna avoid this. That's why I'm telling you kapag nabuo na yung slide pa screenshot na. Kasi nga, it wastes a lot of time to go back that far. Okay? Kasi patapos na sana yung part na to ng lecture. Ayan. Ang tagal ko dito, ha? Ang tagal ko dito sa slide na to. Please be mindful kapag nabuo yung slide, screenshot nyo na kaagad. Kaya nga binubuo ko na, hindi ko na transition eh. Okay, I really would recommend that because this slows the lecture down. I hope you understand. Okay? Okay na? Hindi pa nagre-reply sa okay na. Okay, please let me know when you're done so that I can continue. Okay. Okay, pa-screenshot ka agad kasi ang tagal ko mag-discuss, guys. Pero parang bakit hindi naaabutan ng screenshot? Okay, last slide na to for verbal ay for analogy. Okay? Ayan ha, dyan na yan. Screenshot now, please. While I'm discussing. Okay. Age with regard to animals. Okay, kadalasan animals talaga siya. So ano yung adult, ano yung baby. In this case, the adult is called the bear. Ano yung tawag sa baby? Cub. Diba? And an adult kangaroo, ano yung tawag sa baby niya? It's called the joey. I don't know why the Australians gave it that name, but yun yung tawag sa baby kangaroo. Okay? This is also related to this one. Yung gender rin, although may nephew and niece dito, and I know that, gender is a spectrum at marami mga ibang expressions yan. In language, it's just male and female. Okay? So I'm not saying anything political about that. Pero ito yung importante niyang kailangan natin intindihin. Ito yung usage kasi. Okay? So a nephew is masculine, a niece is feminine, and then a Reynard is a male fox, a vixen is a female fox. I don't know kung may friend kayo na Reynard yung pangalan, pero that's what you call a male fox. Okay? So nagiging nagiging magkasama to once in a while. Okay, so I would recommend that you brush up on these. Ano yung mga tawag sa adult male, sa adult female, sa baby, um, excuse me, that helps. Minsan din, I don't know if any of you is actually planning on going into veterinary science. Kasi meron din, di ba, mga nag-vet med. Um, learning the terms for animals helps. Okay? Minsan pati yung kunyari, mare and the stallion, di ba? Adult male horse ang stallion, a mare is the adult female horse. Pero kailangan breeding sila. Okay? They need to be able to breed. For example, ang stallion, hindi siya pwedeng castrated. Kasi ang stallion is a term for a male horse that can actually breed. Okay? Pero kapag kinapon siya, hindi yun tinatawag na stallion. You call that a gelding. Okay? Usually, syempre, ikakapon yan habang bata pa siya. Okay, so they will not grow old anymore na fertile. Talagang ikakastrate siya early on. Okay, so yan ang may mga ibang terms diyan ang mga animals. Okay, so I would recommend adding that to your study list of things to study. Okay? And then ito, I mean, sanay na kayo magtrabaho sa lab, I assume. I assume that a lot of you have had a lot of lab time, so you would know that there are a lot of symbols regarding hazards there. So crossbones would be symbolizing something a hazard that is in particular toxic, kasi di ba may mga iba rin mga radiation hazard, explosive hazard, corrosive hazard, tsaka electrical hazard. So may mga iba-iba yan. Diba? And I'm sure that, for example, you're looking into whatever medical discipline that you plan on specializing in the future, may mga iba-iba ring mga tools na ginagamit dyan that also have these different hazards. Okay? So keep that in mind. Alam niyo yan, may mga meaning yan. And then the wheelchair would signify accessibility. Pero dahil kailangan adjective, then ginamit ko dito accessible. That is the last slide, okay, on verbal analogy. If you have no more questions, tamang-tama, magto 2 o'clock, I can now segue to the next part. Any questions before we continue? Any mga last minute na pahabol na screenshot? Please tell me now or forever hold your peace. Wala? Okay. Let us continue. Okay, reading comprehension. Tanggalin ko na muna tong si Calvin and Hobbes, ha? Okay, reading comprehension. This is also nothing new to you. I am sure sa lahat ng mga tests na na-take na ninyo dati ay meron tayo, naka-take na kayo nito. Okay, and it is part of the basic skills that you are supposed to learn from grade school. Okay, so again, it's nothing new. Pero baka, dahil some of us might not be avid readers, baka wala tayo sa practice or hindi lang talaga natin nakagawian. We just don't really like it. Okay, so I understand that there are people who are like that. Okay, I like reading, but even someone who likes reading like me doesn't like reading everything. Okay, so may mga iba talaga na mahirap talaga basahin, and I understand that. Okay? But what is reading comprehension? Ano ba hinahanap dyan? Okay, it is a test of, I would like to summarize it as reading efficiency. Okay, so what does that mean? What does reading efficiency means? It means the ability to get, to draw and successfully use information from a passage and do it at speed. Okay? Do it at speed. So kailangan efficient ka, but at the same time, hindi, kailangan mabilis ka, but at the same time, kailangan tama yung basa mo. In other words, efficiency. Okay? And this is why it's important to keep in mind what exactly is reading comprehension. Okay? Reading comprehension is being able to understand what is in the text. That's it. Hindi mo kailangan bigyan ng interpretation. As in, once nabasa mo sa text, alam mo yung literal meaning niya. You don't need to go to a deeper level. Hindi siya analysis. Okay? If you are familiar, for example, with Bloom's taxonomy, sir, ano yung Bloom's taxonomy? It's like a matrix that we educators use to categorize the thinking skills that are being taught in a particular lesson, as well as categorize the test items or um, assessment methods that we are gonna be using. So for example, naghahanap ako, gusto ko makita kung marunong mag-analyze ang mga estudyante ko. Usually, papasulat ko sila ng essay. Okay, kasi analysis is a high-level skill that needs a particular kind of test to demonstrate it. Okay? Otherwise kasi kung lahat multiple choice, edi palagi na lang manghuhula yung mga students. So it won't be accurate. Okay? So yan, ang analysis is a higher level skill. Ang pinakamababa sa Bloom's ay memorization or remembering. Okay? Like, what is this? What is that? Ano yung electron? Ano yung neutron? Ano yung Krebs cycle? Diba? That's memory. It's actually like a very low level skill. And that's why I don't recommend it kasi it really doesn't say anything. But comprehension is the next skill up from that. It's the second lowest skill. It's the most basic kind of reading. Okay? And that is why so ano yung difference ng comprehension at analysis? Kapag kunyari sinabi ko, I am a hot dog. What you can get from that, from comprehension, is this. Sir Joey says he is a processed meat product. Okay? Hot dog daw siya. So yan ang comprehension. Hindi ka nagbibigay ng ibang kulay. Bakit? Bakit? Bakit niya sinasabi? Why is he saying that he is a hot dog? Okay, so you're not asking a why question anymore. You are not asking what does he mean by saying that he is a hot dog. Does that mean na feeling niya mga leftover siya na karne na tinali lang sa sa balat, tapos yung giniling lang siya, tapos tinali lang sa balat? Does he feel like that? Does he feel used? Okay? Analysis na yon. Kasi nagbibigay ka na ng ibang meaning, nag-i-interpret ka na. So ang comprehension, wala pa doon. I will show you some example questions later as to what reading comprehension will be like. Okay? Pero mahaba-haba tong lecture na to, so please bear with me. Okay? Ayan na, ang tagal ko dito sa slide na to, so mag-screenshot kayo, please. I'm moving on to the next slide. Okay. Ayan na. Yan, that's the entire slide. Okay, I'll put it all up there so that you can screenshot at your leisure. Let's avoid going back very far. Keep in mind you're under time pressure. Okay, so maraming implications yan, but for this one thing that will save time is that you will build on passages that you already know. So kung na-discuss mo ang isang passage, kung familiar ka with it, we recommend that you could try answering those first. Okay, bakit? Dahil free points siya. Now, it can be problematic when, for example, di ba, online yung test ninyo. And I asked around with the students, and there was one student that said before, Sir, pwede naman mag-skip sa online. Kaya lang dahil online siya, mahirap mag-backtrack kung ano yung na-skip mo. Okay? So do this at your own risk in the online. Hindi siya katulad ng physical questionnaire na pwede mong singitan ng bookmark or yung kahit yung finger mo lang parang pwede mo balikan, or i-dog ear mo yung page para pwede mo balikan. That's not gonna be easy to do online. So do this at your own risk kasi baka mawala kayo. Next, browse through the questions. Ito pa-practice natin to later pagdating sa quizzes. Okay? It's best to take a look at the questions and figure out exactly what the questions are saying para alam nyo na yung hinahanap ninyo. Next, use your common sense. Once in a while, there will be some questions that are actually answerable through common sense, and you don't actually need to look at the text to answer it. And then finally, don't be intimidated by the passage. And I think this applies to like any test or any item. Don't get stuck. Okay? If an item feels too difficult to answer, skip mo. Okay? Pwede mo balikan later, or might be better kung ayaw mo na talaga pagtuunan siya ng time. You really can just guess randomly. At least may chance kayo magka-points. I don't know if the NMAT is right minus wrong. I don't think it is, but I could be wrong. I don't know if it's right minus wrong, but like it's better to at least ito na lang isipin ninyo. Don't sacrifice 1 point. Don't sacrifice the rest of the test for 1 point. Diba? Kasi mahaba pa yung test. Marami ka pang ibang items na pwedeng sagutin. So if there's one item that you're stuck on, skip it. Or just answer it randomly and move on. Don't get stuck. In the same way, na if the text is so difficult, don't be intimidated. Just keep reading. Actually, I would suggest just reading the questions first. Tsaka mo na balikan. Okay? Any questions about this slide? I'll continue now. Okay. Sir, how do I read faster? Apart from practicing, pagdating natin dun sa test mismo, the goal actually is to read as little as possible. Okay? Sir, di ba reading comprehension, why should I read as little as possible? Okay? Kaya nga, ito yon. The reason why I recommend reading a lot in preparation for the test para ma-exercise kayo. But when you're actually taking the test, you need to shortcut your reading process as much as possible. And so these are some tips on how to do that. First, skim the passage. Skimming is a technique that you should have learned in grade school pa, meaning that you are actually using the structure of the test, the structure of the text in order to find where certain information is. So for example, ano yung title? The title itself should be able to tell you a lot. Okay? The title is one. What else? Yung mga headers. Kaya nga sinuggest ko kanina, read the news. Bakit? Kasi yung news meron siyang given structure. May headline, may subhead, may lead, and then the lead tells you already who, what, when, where, why. Okay? When you're reading a paragraph, alam niyo yung topic sentence is usually at the start or end. So focus on that. Okay? And makikita niyo kaagad yung main idea ng isang paragraph. Okay? So skimming is using the structure to your advantage. But I also mentioned kanina, reading the questions, this naman allows you to scan. It is a similar skill to skimming, but this time, alam mo yung hinahanap mo. Yung skimming kasi you don't know what you're looking for. You don't know what you're looking for, so you use the structure to tell you important things. So scanning, you have an idea of what you're looking for. So for example, anong date namatay si Albert Einstein, then you know you're looking for a date. Okay? So hanapin mo yung date. Ako rin naghahanap ng date pero ibang klaseng date. Anyway, so yon, you know that's what you're looking for in the text. Okay? As you are so yun, moving on, as you read, di ba, make predictions regarding what the paragraph is saying. So for example, ano ba yung ibig sabihin yan, sir? Minsan, kunyari, gumagamit yung text ng mga terms like revolution or proletariat. Alam mo, medyo may Marxist leaning yung text, or at very least may Marxist siya na discussion. It's talking about Marxism. Okay? Marxist ideas in one way or another. Okay? Whether opposed siya or allied siya or whatever. Di ba? Makikita mo. So you can predict na, ito siguro yung sasabihin niya. Okay? So that is a very good way of making these predictions. Next, you can also avoid using terms, reading the in-between words, the transitional devices. For example, in other words, such as. Okay? So yung mga words na ganon, you can avoid reading them kasi hindi na kailangan. You can skip them. And with regard to that, also skipping words, do not pronounce words individually in your head. Okay? What does that mean? Kunyari, meron kang word na German nasa text mo, like Vergeltungswaffen or something, then you don't actually need to read it. You don't even need to know how to pronounce it kasi hindi naman tatabi sa'yo yung proctor tapos sasabihin, sige nga, pronounce mo nga yan. Di ba? Hindi. That's not part of the test. You don't need to know how words are pronounced. So don't bother. It's not needed. And you don't need to read them out loud either. In fact, we recommend that you should not. Bakit? Okay, first, baka ma-accuse ka of cheating. Second, reading a word out loud. Okay, so for example, I'll read this sentence, ha? I'll read this bullet, and then you read it quietly. I will read it aloud. Do not pronounce words individually in your head, much less read out loud. I'm pretty sure that in most cases, if you were reading that silently, nauna kayo matapos kesa sa akin. Because I had to read it at the speed that I was speaking. And the part of the brain that processes speech is different from the part of the brain that processes eyesight. So, dumadaan pa yan sa utak ko, kayo tapos na. Okay? And I know it's just probably milliseconds difference, but it's enough. That adds up. Diba? So if you imagine you read aloud all of the texts that you were taking up in your reading comprehension test, hindi talaga kayo matatapos. Okay? So keep that in mind. Next, okay, because you are reading, and I think the last few words the last few bullets are similar in their idea. You don't need to read the whole thing. You don't need to, you can read words in groups. You can skip words, just like what I did. Kasi hindi mo kailangan ibuo. Kasi as long as nakikita mo yung subject and yung predicate in a sentence, you can more or less see the entirety of the meaning of the sentence na hindi mo kailangan basahin word for word siya na ganon. But using your in the same way, you don't need to read it out loud eh. So hindi ka na magpo-pause with the commas, periods, and paragraphs. Using your finger might also help you stay on the text. Like I read very fast, but I still need a bookmark at least or my finger to tell me where I am while I'm reading kasi madali mawala. Lalo na dahil mabilis nga ako magbasa. So nawawala ako sa text. But in your case, I would recommend that nasa screen ka eh. So you could probably use your mouse pointer like this, okay? Or you could also use your finger to point at the screen, that whichever works for you. Any questions about reading faster? Hey, tuloy ko lang. Now, there are several types of questions. Let me discuss each one, okay? The main idea type of question, kasama rin dyan, ano yung best title? These are general questions. They're questions about the overall idea of a text. So main idea, yung topic, yung thesis. These are the types of answers to this kind of question. Okay? Excuse me. So the main idea yan. General questions. Next, noting details. These are specific questions wherein they are looking down at a particular piece of information that is given in the text. So, like yung ano yung birthday ni Albert Einstein? Kailan namatay si Albert Einstein? And the great thing about noting detail type questions is that when I ask you, okay, saan nga yan sa text? You can easily tell me, ito sir, line number 7. It says here that he died on this day, then that would be noting details. It's not only explicit, it's not only specific, it's also explicit. Nasa text talaga siya, hindi siya debatable. Okay? Next, inferential questions. Inference questions are sort of in between na. Paalis na siya sa comprehension, papunta na sa analysis or application. Bakit? Kasi you're already linking what is in the text with something outside of the text. Okay? Meron siyang read between the lines. You are using evidence or clues that are in the text. So for example, from the text, what would you say the real definition of a samurai is? Okay? Tapos bibigyan ka ng several definitions. Okay, but the text doesn't really explain what the samurai is. It just gives you clues na they serve a lord, they are trained in weaponry, they are used in warfare, etc. But like it doesn't really give you an explicit definition. Okay? So that would be an inference. You're inferring what an unfamiliar word is based on clues in the text. Or, ano pa, mga ibang examples. Predictions, making predictions is a type of inferential questions. Like, based on what the author said, which of the following is the author likely to agree with? That is an inference question. Okay, so you're making a prediction based on what is in the text. Any questions about these types of questions? Buhay pa ba kayo? Okay. Next slide. Okay. Next, tone or attitude. Let me first explain what purpose is. Purpose is why the author is writing. And this is explicit in the text. Palaging sinasabi ng author, palaging clear sa text na may intention yung author. In all of the history of mankind, not a single text was written without any intention. Okay, palaging may intention ang author. Now, you will usually see this. It is usually obvious that the author wants to convince me to change my mind. Yan ang persuasion. Okay? So when a text is persuasive, it will always attempt to change the mind of the reader. Change the mind or the behavior or the attitudes of the reader. Okay? That is what persuasion is. Okay? Next is to inform. It is simply the giving of information. Okay? You are given information about the topic. Usually it is abstract information. Okay? Like what it is like to teach abroad. Okay, so I am writing about my experience abroad. I'd like to discuss about I'd like to discuss what it's like. That is informative. Mga abstract ano yan? Mga abstract ideas yan. Mga how something is. That is informative. How something is, how something works. These are informative. Um, and usually they're very scientific. Okay? Iba yan sa persuasive kasi it's not trying to change your mind about anything. It just gives you information. How is this different from description? Description is usually very physical or concrete na you could talk about yun. Describe ko crush ko, describe ko yung eyebrows niya, describe ko yung cheeks niya, describe ko yung tunog ng tawa niya. That is abstract. Okay? That is concrete. Description yan. Hindi yan informative. Informative yung um, i-explain ko yung hobby ko. Explain ko yung common interests namin. Okay? Explain ko na mahilig kami sa mga cosplay. So that would be informative. Okay? Explain ko yung hobby ng cosplaying. That would be informative. Okay? Or ayan, nasa Comiket siya ngayon sa Mega Mall and then I'm here. So sana kasama ko siya pero okay lang yan, guys. Okay? Okay lang yan. Informative. Yun, explain ko what is the experience of going to a convention in Mega Mall. Napakadaming tao. Nag-post siya ng pictures kanina, dami-daming tao. Okay, so I could talk about that. Informative yun. Okay? Next, entertainment. Entertainment is any emotional response. So iba-iba yan. Kasi some of us find entertaining na gusto natin nakakatawa. Diba? We like we like something that is comedic. We like something that is feel good. May mga iba naman sa atin na mahilig mabad trip sa mga pinapanood natin. So nanonood tayo ng mga nakaka-bad trip na anime like Jujutsu Kaisen na lahat ng tao namamatay. Diba? So may mga ganon. Yung we still find it entertaining. 'Di ba? Pinapanood pa rin natin. Or something like mga K-drama na nakakaiyak. 'Di ba? We find that entertaining na naaantig yung mga puso natin. That is entertainment because there is an emotional reaction. Okay? So, yan yung mga different purposes. Persuade is to change mind. Inform is to give facts. Yun lang. Okay? Very straightforward. Wala siyang bias. And yung persuade naman, meron siyang bias. Kasi meron nga siyang preference. And so when there's a preference, then there is a bias. And there's nothing wrong with having a bias. Kasi tao tayo eh. May mga bias tayo. Diba? But we need to recognize that. In the same way, sa informative naman, kailangan hindi siya biased. Kasi kailangan balanced yung discussion. And then emotional tries to get an emotional response. Now, sir, anong relationship niyan sa tone? Okay. Tone is the attitude of the author to the subject matter. What does the author think and feel about the subject matter? And before you say, sir, hindi ba subjective yan? Hindi. Klaro yan sa text. It should be very abundantly clear in the text that the author feels a certain way about the topic. Unless, of course, it's an informative text wherein the author is required to be objective. Okay? So, for example, persuasion. I am one topic I am very passionate about is cycling for transport, alternative mobility. I avoid using a car. In fact, kapag mag-isa lang ako, hindi ako nagmamaneho, nagbabike ako. Okay? Hindi rin ako nagko-commute, nagbabike ako because I find that I'm free. I can go at whatever speed I want. Nalulusutan ko yung traffic. Okay? Sir, hindi ba unsafe? Hindi. hindi siya safe. Pero depende kung saan ako papunta. So if I'm in QC, it's relatively safe in QC. Okay? Salamat sa aming LGU dito because Mayor Joy has been, doing her best to give us proper bike lanes. Diba? So, yan, passionate ako about that. And if I were to persuade about it, you can see that I will be very passionate about it. Even see that I am passionate about it. Na has changed my life. It has changed my way of life. My fitness greatly increased and hindi ako nalilate sa mga meetings ko. When I was working in Ateneo, I would bike to campus and hindi ako nalilate. Kasi yung mga co-teachers ko na nakakotse, nalilate sila, naiipit sila dun sa traffic. Ako hindi. Nalulusutan ko. Okay? Um, may mga time ba na muntikan na ako maaksidente? Yes, pero andito pa naman ako. Okay? Isang beses pa lang naman ako sumemplang ng matindi. And it was wounds, mga galos, pero hindi naman grave injury. Okay? Kasi ako lang yung nahulog mag-isa. Ako lang yung sumemplang mag-isa. Hindi naman ako nabangga. Hindi ako nakasagasa. Hindi ako nabangga. Okay? So, I'm passionate about it. And if you look at other friends of mine who also have that same passion, yung mga iba sa kanila, mga influencers actually, or they're activists who actually engage with the local governments, nagbibigay sila ng mga suggestions, kinakausap nila, yun, si Mayor Joy Belmonte, at kinoconsult sila. Then passionate din sila. Makikita mo yung mga yung how they argue. Makikita mo iba sa kanila medyo sarcastic talaga, nag nag uh, nag nakikipag-debate sa mga troll sa Twitter. May mga ganon. So medyo sarcastic sila kasi pinapatamaan nila yung mga ganon na just one more lane, bro. Okay, so kita mo yung attitude nila towards the topic. Iba-iba, pero ang gamit pa rin nila is persuasion. Ang purpose pa rin nila is persuasion. Iba-iba mga attitude towards the topic, but they are all trying to persuade. Kapag informative naman, then you need to be objective. Binura ko tong indifferent na to kasi ibig sabihin ng indifferent, di ba, wala kang pakialam. But kaya ka nga nagsusulat kasi may pakialam ka. Okay? You don't need to, you care about it, but you must not show that you are emotional about it in an informative text. Ba? So, keep that in mind. Usually, wala siyang tone. Hindi siya gumagamit ng mga forceful words. It's just very balanced in the discussion. Finally, entertainment type texts will also have different tones and attitudes. Just think of your favorite Taylor Swift song. Okay? It would have a very strong tone. To her credit, magaling magsulat ng kanta si Taylor Swift. Nakitang-kita mo talaga yung attitude niya dun sa kanta. Whether she is bitter or passionate or enthusiastic or vindictive. Okay? Diba? So, ibang-iba yung tone niya sa love story sa Dear John. Now, Sir, Swiftie ka ba? Hindi. My ex was. So, medyo malaki trauma ko kay Taylor Swift. Okay? So, yan lang. Okay? Isipin nyo lang yung favorite Taylor Swift song ninyo. Magaling siya sa tone. Okay? So, keep that in mind. Ayan. Okay? So, purpose and tone are related. Ang mood is a bit different and rarely siya tinatanong. Bakit? Kasi subjective ang mood eh. Iba-iba yung hagod sa inyo ng mga kanta. For example, if you listen to certain songs, some of them you like it because maganda yung beat, maganda yung melody, but there are some songs na um, hindi mo talaga type. And then wala talagang tama sa'yo. Or kapag nanonood kayo ng mga films or nanonood kayo ng anime, some of you really find some stories compelling, others, no. Okay, so like ako for example, hindi ako masyado nanonood ng K-drama. I don't find most of them compelling. Pero ano yung sinundan ko talaga recently? I watched Kyung Song Creature recently and I was like, wow, okay to ah. It I found it both touching and also thrilling to watch. Okay, so mood kasi, ano ba yung mood? Ang author's tone is the author's attitude towards the subject. Okay, klaro yon. Ang mood is the author's intended feeling for the reader. What does the author intend for you, the reader, to feel? Gusto ba nung author na kiligin ka? Gusto ba nung author na mainis ka? Gusto ba nung author na maiyak ka, mapaiyak ka? That is intended mood. Ang tone is how the author feels personally. And again, klaro yon. Any author who will have their writing used in this test will clearly communicate their tone. Any questions about this? Okay. Vocabulary in context. Okay, bilisan ko lang ng sandali to. Context means you read something together with the text. Okay, so I mentioned I will break it down like this. The prefix con means with, and then text is text. So you read something with the text. Okay. Um, vocabulary in context questions usually will be formulated as such. In this paragraph, what is the best definition of burst? In this paragraph, what is the best definition of neutral? In this paragraph, what is the best definition of sharp? Okay? Usually mga words with multiple meanings yan. They're words with multiple meanings, but in the context, makikita mo klaro kung ano talaga yung meaning niya. Okay, so for example, sharp. Ibig sabihin ba nun, it's a physically sharp object? Ibig sabihin ba niya they are painful words? Ibig sabihin ba niya uh, um, intellectually acute? Diba? Yun ba yung mga meaning? Ano yung meaning sa context? Okay, so vocabulary in context will always be like that. Magtatanong siya, in this paragraph, which is the best definition? Questions about this? I'll continue now. Buhay pa ba kayo? Okay, the next type of question is style. Okay? So, ang tinatanong dyan is, how does the author do this? How does the author, and usually it's related to, of course, the purpose of the text. How does the author persuade? Nagkwento ba siya? Nagbigay ba siya ng facts? Nag-counter ba siya ng arguments? Nag-drama ba siya? Okay? Ano yung style? Or in this poem, how does the author describe ano kaya? In this poem, um how does the author describe his relationship with his beloved? Okay? For example, Shakespeare, diba? Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? So, the author uses nature to describe his beloved. Okay? Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Diba? So, the author uses nature, specifically the seasons, to describe his beloved. So yun, style yun. Okay? And syempre, paiba-iba yung style kasi minsan, we're discussing social science passages, and then there's like a very diverse set of passages that will appear in the test. Okay, so if you ask me, sir, what genre of text should I focus on? Medyo pointless na question yan. Be ready to read any type of text, whether scientific, political, social science, literary, personal essays, all of that appears in the test. So be ready for anything. Any questions about technique or style? Tutuloy na tayo sa literary devices. Okay? And before I continue, there was a student before who said, sana we didn't discuss this anymore. Guys, this appears in the test. Okay? So let me just warn you that this does appear in the test. So if you feel that, I don't care about that, I'm not a literary student, hindi ako creative writing teacher, hindi ako English teacher, and this appears in the test. Okay? So bear with me, listen, please, and aralin natin to. Okay? So, literary devices. What are literary devices? These are techniques that are used by authors in order to convey the meaning that they want. Paiba-iba yan, and some of them are more intentional than others. Some of them are very complex. Some of them are very simple. But in general, literary devices are concepts that are used to strengthen a text, especially a literary one. Now, let's start with allegories. I will spend more time on these three kasi medyo dense yung mga explanations for them. Ito madali lang explain. And then ito, I will spend some time on these. Yung irony, babalikan ko yan later on because irony is a very complicated topic and it's better with an example. Okay, so I'll give you an example later. First, allegories. Allegories are, as the slide says, they are stories, so dapat may kwento siya, and it is used to explain an abstract idea. Iba siya sa parable o kaya sa fable, kasi yon may kwento lang talaga siya, tapos may moral lesson. Okay. Meron kang masasummarize na one sentence na ito'y matututunan mo sa kwento. Yung allegory, yung kwento, hindi talaga siya fully fleshed out. It's just used as an illustration. So for example, you might be familiar with the allegory of the cave. Diba? Plato's allegory of the cave. Wherein you have people who are tied up, they are chained in a cave, nakagapos sila sa kuweba, at nakikita lang nila, nakagapos sila, they cannot talk to each other, di sila pwede magsalita, di sila pwede makaalis, and the only thing they ever see are the shadows cast on the wall by a puppet show. And so, when they are released into the open, if one of these people manages to break out, and they see the truth, the goodness, and the beauty of the world outside, will they ever want to come back? No. Diba? Hindi. Ang pag namulat ka na sa katotohanan, sa kagandahan, at sa kabutihan ng mundo sa labas, hindi ka na muli babalik pa sa mga anino sa kuweba. Okay? Hindi ka na muli babalik sa pagkamangmang, sa kamangmangan. You will not want to go back to ignorance if you are enlightened. So yan ang allegory of the cave. Yan yung sinasabi lang ni Plato. Diba? That is an allegory. Now, next. By the way, if you have questions, mag-chat lang kayo. Allusions next. Allusions will refer to, I don't like the word popular, ginamit ko canon. Okay? Will refer to canon, characters, events, literature, stories. Okay, pwede rin events in history that are prominent. Okay? Kaya nga canon kasi they have reached a level of officialness. Okay, so when you call something as part of the English canon, for example, as in hindi mo pwedeng aralin ang English language nang hindi mo inaaral itong mga author na to. For example, a very important member of the English canon is William Shakespeare. Can I have a raise of hands here kung sino ang nakadiscuss ni Shakespeare, who has watched Shakespeare, who has discussed him in school before? I would just like to see. Kasi very rare na siyang ituro ngayon. Kakalungkot. Okay? 1, 3, 4. Okay. Decent. Decent number. 5. So 1/8 of you. 6, 7, 1, 6. Okay. Marami-rami. Good. Good. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Ito ata yung most that I've seen in one class, which is kind of sad. Okay. Still, it's good that at least you have some familiarity with him. So, for example, Shakespeare is a big part of English canon, and therefore, may mga allusions kay William Shakespeare. Okay? Pero tingnan ko na muna to. For example, Greek mythology. Because our educational system is very Western, even though we're Asian, our knowledge about Greek mythology is more common. In fact, it's probably more common nga than knowledge about our own mythology. 'Di ba? So kung tanungin ko sa inyo, kung sino si Apollo, you're probably going to be able to answer. But if I asked you, sino si Apo Laki? Then medyo mas konti siguro makakasagot, if any. Okay? Diba? Sino si Apo Laki? It's much more likely that if I ask you who Apollo is, you'll be able to answer. That said, okay, ano pang pwede? Bible characters, for example. You will at least know, even if you are not a believer yourself, you will at least have some familiarity with the story of David and Goliath, for example. And you will know that it's a story about an underdog fighting a foe who seems to be so overwhelmingly strong and in the end wins. Nanalo yung underdog dun sa kwento. Okay? Because the story of David and Goliath is that. Okay? And even if you don't personally believe in it, you will be familiar with it. And you don't even have to be a Christian. Kasi kahit mga ibang Abrahamic faiths like the Jews of course, and the Muslims will also have some familiarity with this. Like the stories of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, of course, will be familiar even to Muslims. And the stories of sino pa ba? Si si ano si si David will be familiar to them, or Solomon even. Okay, so yung mga characters na ganon ay alam nila, kilala nila. Okay, so yan ang allusions. Now, Shakespeare will also have a lot of allusions. For example, um, yan, yung mga kanta ni Taylor Swift. Di ba? May yung love story, meron siyang allusions to Romeo and Juliet, which I question kasi kapag basahin mo yung lyrics niya, yung lyrics ng love story is that ang positive ng dating ng Romeo and Juliet. But if you are familiar with who Romeo and Juliet are and how their love story ended up, 'di ba? Parang like, oh my gosh, Taylor Swift, seryoso ka ba? Gusto mo ba maging Romeo and Juliet yung love story natin? Kasi it's like the worst possible outcome for a love story because they both died. Okay? And not only that, medyo ang dami nilang maraming nangyari, maraming masamang nangyari dahil nagjowa yung dalawang yon. Okay? So it's uh you'll know that that's what it means, 'di ba? Tapos meron rin yung term na star-crossed lovers, 'di ba? And it sounds so romantic. Wow, parang ano ba yung love ko ba is written in the stars? Hindi. What star-crossed lovers means is that you are cursed by the stars. You are cursed by the heavens themselves na hindi kayo magkakatuluyan at masama ang mangyayari, malas yung love ninyo. That's what it means. Okay, so these terms, these are also allusions to Shakespeare. Okay, dun sila nang galing. Next, so babalikan ko si Shakespeare mamaya. Marami siyang magandang illustrations. Okay? Okay, so for the next 20 or so minutes, itutuloy ko lang to. We'll break at 3 o'clock. Okay? 3 o'clock, mag-break tayo. So I'll just continue this now. Okay, keep that in mind. We have about 20 minutes. Okay, tuloy ko to. Anachronisms. Anachronisms, ito na naman tayo sa Greek. Ana, meaning up again or out of. And then merong chronos. What does chronos mean? Anybody? Pampagising. Time, di ba? So, an anachronism means it is something outside of time. Mas maganda siya sabihin sa Filipino, wala siya sa oras. Okay? So, an anachronism ang mga anachronismo ay mga bagay na mga detalye sa isang kwento na wala sa oras. Okay, what does that mean? Sometimes it could be something like, it could be something as simple as poor research on the author's part na nagkamali lang talaga siya. Sir, nung time na yan, hindi po sila gumagamit ng mga baril. Hindi pa dumating like sa mga Japanese, for example, di ba? Mga samurai, early on, early on, hindi pa dumadating yung Portuguese, so wala pa silang mga baril. Pero nung dumating yung mga Portuguese, they started adopting guns already. Okay? Mabilis sila nag-adapt ng mga firearms nung dumating yung mga Portuguese. Okay, so anachronism, possible yon. Mali lang siya sa research. But sometimes, and this is really interesting, Okay? Ito yung example ko. Sometimes sinasadya ng author yung anachronism because meron siyang point. Okay? For example, The Once and Future King. If you have not read The Once and Future King and you like fantasy literature, I highly, highly recommend it. It's a very good book. Okay, it's one of my favorites, and I cannot recommend it enough. It was written by T.H. White. Itatype ko lang yan para hindi nyo na kailangan i-look up. Okay, T.H. White. And he wrote it around World War II. Okay? Medyo sa World War II yan sinulat. So, ano ba yung kwento niyan? It's the story of King Arthur. Okay? Now, if you're familiar with King Arthur, or maybe very rarely na rin siyang tinuturo nowadays, King Arthur was a legendary king of Britain shortly after the Roman Empire fell. So, very early medieval period to. And nung time na yon is ang gulo-gulo nung nation nila, and a lot of the knights and the lords were taking advantage of the people. Okay? So inaabuso nila. Kasi may weapons ako, I'm mighty, I'm strong, I can take advantage of the poor people. Pero sinabi ni King Arthur, hindi dapat tayo ganito. Yung father ko ganon, ako hindi. Aayusin ko to. The government, the kings, servants should be for the people. The knights should protect the people. So dito nang galing yung image natin ng chivalrous knight. Of course, may mga ibang kwento rin, pero supposedly si King Arthur, yung talaga nag-centralize niyan na hindi dapat, if you're gonna serve me, ganito dapat kayong level na tao. Okay? And so what he did was that the knights, dito nang galing yung idea natin ng chivalrous knights na guwapo sila, they're very noble, napaka-self-sacrificing, napaka-heroic, pumapatay sila ng mga dragon. 'Di ba? Doon nang galing yung idea na yon. And then, si King Arthur, yung tawag sa knights niya, or the Knights of the Round Table. Kasi, bakit round? No medieval period, usually mahaba yung table nila. If you've seen Game of Thrones, alam niyo yung itsura nun. Mahaba yung table. Kasi, kung malayo ka, hindi ka favorite. Kung malayo ka dun sa Lord. Pero kapag malapit ka, favorite ka. So, it's important. It's a mark of status. But with King Arthur, sinabi niya, hindi, round yung table natin. Bakit? Kasi equal tayo lahat. Tapos pati yung king, nakaupo rin siya doon. So, yes, prominent yung king. And siya ultimately yung nagko-call ng shots. Pero lahat tayo pantay-pantay. Now, ano yung anachronism dito? King Arthur had a wizard named Merlin. And sino si Merlin? Merlin was his advisor. Okay? Nung bata siya yung nagturo kay King Arthur. And then when King Arthur became king, Merlin became his advisor. Now, Merlin was not human. He was half demon. Okay? So interesting, 'di ba, na half demon pala siya. And then he was born at the end of the world. Tapos, paatras yung timeline niya. Paatras siya tumanda. So actually, if this were true, buhay si Merlin ngayon and mas bata siya ngayon. Tapos, paatras siyang tumatanda. So pagdating niya dun sa time ni King Arthur, matanda na siya. And then he will die at the beginning of the world. Okay? So yun yung kwento ni Merlin in the original story. Ang ginawa ni T.H. White, which was super interesting, was that if dumaan si T.H. White dun sa panahon, if dumaan si Merlin dun sa panahon ni T.H. White, which was World War II. And so, pagdating ni Merlin dun sa time ni King Arthur, nakita niya yung mundo rin ni T.H. White. World War II. Hitler, Stalin, genocide, Holocaust, yung pagkasira ng Europe during that time. Okay? And so, pagdating ni Merlin kay King Arthur, sinabi niya, 1,000 years from now, there will be this crazy man who will burn all of Europe because of what he believed in, because of his crazy ideas. It is my job to prevent that from happening in your time. Kasi nakita ko na yon. And ayoko siya mangyari dito sa time mo. Okay? So that is an anachronism. So kinukuha niya yung experience ni T.H. White, sinasama niya dun sa story ni Merlin, Tapos ginagamit niya para i-explain kung bakit naging ganun si King Arthur. Ang galing, 'di ba? Like I was super impressed when I saw that. Okay, when the author was able to connect his real world experience with the character's background and use it to explain why King Arthur became the way he is. That's an anachronism, and it's a very good one. It's a very complex one, but it's a very good one. Okay. Cliffhangers, flashback, and foreshadowing. I don't really need to explain this so much. It's very common in media nowadays. Nanonood kayo ng mga series, nanonood kayo ng anime. It's very common because it's a great way to tell a story na nagbibigay ka ng added information. Like for example, yung pinapanood ko ngayon, Three Body Problem. So it's about aliens, right? And then may mga flashback siya constantly to 1966 early on na sa communist China wherein one of the characters ended up contacting aliens. Okay? Tapos in the years that followed, dumating na pala sila sa Earth. Okay? So yun yung flashback and it uses that. Okay? Cliffhanger, alam natin yan, maraming anime na ganyan na palaging to be continued, di ba? Exciting. And then foreshadowing, like it gives a hint about what something is about to happen. Sometimes it also simply explains that something is likely to happen. Like nakita ko sa Breaking Bad, there was one character na tumatakbo siya dun sa loob ng living room niya tapos nadapa siya dun sa carpet niya. And then I was like anong purpose nung scene na yon? And then I realized in the next episode, foreshadowing pala yun. Kasi nadapa uli siya in the next episode pero may plot relevant na nangyari. So okay, maluwag lang talaga yung carpet niya. So it's a good explanation for why that happened. Foreshadow niyan. Next, imagery. What is imagery? Imagery is anything that is a sensory experience or detail. So literature, it doesn't have to be optical. It doesn't have to be visual for it to be considered an image. So for example, pag pumunta kayo ng beach, man, mag-Holy Week na, 'di ba? Holy Week na. So when you go to the beach, mag-beach kayo, like say mag-LU kayo. What do you experience there? Ano mga sensory experience ninyo doon? Pa-type nga sa chat, please. Mga non-visual experience ninyo sa beach. If you're gonna be going to the beach. Okay, the smell of the salt air, the sea air. Diba? There is a particular scent that it carries. What else? The warmth of the sun. Okay, so the scent, the smell, the warmth, the texture of the sand. Okay, whether you're going to a white sand, a fine sand beach, LU Western Coast yun, so medyo magaspang yung sand. Pero kunyari, if you went to Boracay, di ba, very fine sand yon. Or if you went to the Pacific Coast, magaspang rin yung sand. Like kunyari sa Bicol, di ba, magaspang yung sand doon. Okay, so that's part of it. These are sensory experiences. These are sensory details. And when you are referring to any of these in literature, um, even if they are not visual, automatically imagery tawag dyan. Okay? So if I were to write a poem about going to the beach, I would include these. Lahat yan imagery. Okay? Lahat yan tinatawag na imagery. Next, irony. Okay? Irony is very complex to explain. I would just like to summarize it for now. Babalikan natin yan later. I would like to summarize irony as the difference between expectation and reality in literature. Okay? So difference between expectation and reality in literature. Um, it so that's the very general term for it. I will give you an example later. Okay. In reality, of course, in real life, the difference between expectation and reality is disappointment. But in terms of literature, it's called irony. Okay. Balikan natin yan later. And the next, motif. Motifs are anything that recurs. Okay, so dyan, recurring situations, actions, or objects. Basically, if there's a symbolism that appears more than once, motif yun. Like if you watch Attack on Titan, for example, Attack on Titan had a lot of images of flying birds. Yun yung recurring motif niya kasi it's a sign of freedom. Okay, so it's one of the major themes of the anime was freedom, and it revisited that several times. Na parang basically pinapakita niya yung flying bird na paulit-ulit, and it's subtly asking the question, itong ginagawa ng mga characters, freedom ba to? Okay, is this what freedom means? Is this what freedom is supposed to be? Okay? So with that in mind, kunyari pinapanood pa lang ninyo yung Attack on Titan or you haven't seen it yet and then you want to watch it, di ba? Watch out for the birds. Di ba? Ano yung relevance ng mga birds dyan? And then makikita ninyo, like, oh my gosh, yun pala. Okay, so ang lalim pala ng meaning. Motif yun. Here's another example. Okay, and I think, hindi, sige, itutuloy ko lang yan. Itutuloy ko lang tong discussion na to. Okay, here's another example. This is from the video game Destiny. Okay, and so, sige, drawing ko na lang para medyo mas halata. This character, okay, as you can see here, he shot this guy. Okay, so pinatay niya. Okay, so this character murdered him. And this scene happened first. Okay, nauna tong scene na to sa baba. This scene happened first in an earlier part of the story. And then later on, this character found himself joining the good guys. Okay, kasi bad guy siya for a while. He found himself joining the good guys, joining the character, the main character, which is you, the player, and also joining yung mga ito yung commander ninyo eh. Okay? And then he's this guy. Okay? And you can see yung composition ng image pareho. Okay, he's standing over a figure dito. Okay, he joins you and then he ends up saving the commander. Ito yung commander. He saved him. He saves the commander. Pero in the process, tinatago niya yung identity niya kasi alam niya siya yung murderer eh. And then, nabasag yung mask niya, nakita niya yung face niya. But instead of condemning him or killing him, the commander chooses to forgive, chooses to allow him to redeem himself. Okay? So nakikita natin yan na his story is completed, na na-redeem niya yung sarili niya. Sinadya ng mga creators ng game na pareho yung image. Kasi you were a person who is very self-centered, you were a murderer, napaka-violent mong tao, but now you are given a fresh start. And that's one of the major themes of the story of the game is redemption. 'Di ba? Finding your own redemption. Now, this is already getting into analysis, 'di ba? But yun yan, gusto ko explain kung ano ba ang isang recurring image. Okay? Ano ba ang isang motif? So ginamit nila ito yung similar image. They used it to prove the point. They used it to illustrate this character's redemption and the completion of his story. Okay? Any questions about this? Okay. I still have like about 7 minutes until the break. Itutuloy ko na lang to ha para we can cover some ground. Okay? This is already in the book, so you don't need to take a screenshot of this. From what I'm pretty sure nasa book to. So hindi ko na ipapa-screenshot sa inyo. Ito yung dapat ninyong i-screenshot. Okay, the examples, because this is not in the book. Okay, so please take a screenshot of this and I will discuss as much of this as possible until 3 o'clock. Okay. Simile and metaphor, I'm sure you're familiar with these. These are all basically comparisons. Okay? And that they are the simplest type of figure of speech. Sila palaging unang tinuturo, and I'm sure you've learned them in grade school because they are the simplest. Okay? You just get an image and use it to compare something. Simile uses like and a metaphor does not. Okay? Simile can use like or as, a metaphor does not. So yan lang yung difference nila. Their only difference is their lack of is their wording, but they're actually the same in usage. Okay? So they are both comparisons. Indirect comparison ang simile, direct comparison ang metaphor. Okay? That's it. That's the only difference between the two. They are both very similar to each other. Next, personification. A personification is the use of human-like characteristics to describe something or to describe something's actions. So the storm clouds danced across the sky. Yan ay personification. Okay? Kasi yung storm clouds, siguro paikot-ikot silang ganon. So it it evokes the image of a dancer who is spinning. Okay? So yan yung personification. Pwede rin, another type of personification is using an abstract idea like death and using a character, ginagawang character, yung abstract idea like death. Okay, so death, for example, is usually personified as the Grim Reaper, na para siyang skeleton and meron siyang sight and nakakatakot siya and all that. Diba? But there are some authors who choose to personify death as something else. For example, in Neil Gaiman's Sandman, death is personified as a beautiful young woman who is very kind-hearted, hindi siya nakakatakot, and ginagawa niya yun because, like in Neil Gaiman's work, he wants to depict death as something that we're not supposed to be afraid of, diba? That it's a natural part of life and that we should accept it. So yan ang personification. Next, apostrophe. Okay? Many of you have mentioned that you have discussed Shakespeare. For the benefit of those who have not, I will briefly discuss Hamlet. And possibly I will, so itutuloy ko lang to. Okay? I will discuss Hamlet. Hamlet is the story of the Prince of Denmark. So Hamlet was the Prince of Denmark, and he was abroad during that time. He at the start of the story he was abroad, and then he's called home because namatay yung dad niya, and he finds out that his mother married his uncle. Okay, his widowed mother, newly widowed, married his uncle very shortly after the funeral of the king. So nagprotest si Hamlet. He wore all black to the wedding. He was very unhappy about it, and then later that evening he encounters the ghost of his father, and the father says, "Your uncle murdered me. You must avenge me." And so Hamlet goes on this campaign of revenge that destroys his own life. Okay, so he was with his he had a girlfriend named Ophelia, and Ophelia was very she was wondering, Hamlet, what's wrong? Why are you so different and all of that? And Hamlet, instead of encouraging her and apologizing to her, he just tells her, get thee to a nunnery. Diba? Magmadre ka na lang, nobody's ever gonna love you. Okay, and so he becomes super toxic to Ophelia, and eventually Ophelia has a mental breakdown after many things, kasi like Hamlet accidentally kills her father and all of that. Eventually, like, she has a mental breakdown and takes her own life. It's implied that she takes her own life. Basta later on, in the end of the story, sa Act 5, patay na si Ophelia. And Hamlet is burying her. And after his funeral, he finds the skull of Yorick, the dead jester. And he says, kinausap niya yung skull as if the skull were alive, or if the skull were the dead jester talaga. And he says, alas, poor Yorick, I knew him well. Where be your jibes now, your gambols, your songs? And to paraphrase, he says something along the lines of, go to where my woman is, because and try to make her, maybe you can make her laugh, because I can't make her laugh anymore. And so yun, he says that that is what you call an apostrophe. Apostrophe is when the character, you can imagine on stage, is not talking to anybody except an imaginary thing, possibly an object or someone who is not physically there. Yan ang apostrophe. Kinakausap niya yung taong wala doon. Okay, so it's easiest to see on stage na nakatayo siya doon, wala siyang ibang kausap kundi yung skull. Okay, so that is an apostrophe. the character is talking to somebody who's not physically present. Okay? And then ito lang very quickly, kasi I have one last minute until 3. Allusion, this is another example of an allusion. So you might be familiar with these names, Asmodeus, Barbatos, Paimon. Okay, if you played Genshin Impact or watched Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans or played Fate Grand Order, those names will be familiar to you. And or even Dungeons and Dragons kasi ginagamit tong pangalan to si Asmodeus. Okay? And these names are the names of demons from this book, the Ars Goetia or the Lesser Key of Solomon, wherein ang nangyari is that apparently Solomon was so powerful na binigyan rin siya ng abilities ni God to actually to actually enslave the 72 most powerful demons of hell. Tapos ginamit niya sila to build his kingdom. And supposedly that's what happened. But because they're such cool names, so many fictional works, fantasy works, use those names in order to, kasi astig sila mga pangalan, Barbatos, diba? It's such a cool name for a demon character. So ginagamit nila yan sa mga ibang fictional works. It's kind of common in anime. Okay, so kahit yung paggamit ng name, allusion yan. Okay, I will pause here. It's 3 o'clock. Let's take a break. Come back, please, at 3:10. Okay? I'll see you guys in 10 minutes.